Oh, hey, buddy, it's your old pal Scott, and this is Let's Talk Tabletop. Is the word role-playing dead? Because I look all around me and I see it used constantly, but I'm not sure they know what that word actually means. So, there's a lot of video games and even tabletop games that claim they are role-playing games. RPGs is usually the term. And a lot of them don't really have any role-playing aspects. Now, hear me out, okay? Even Dungeons and Dragons. You do play a role in Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop RPGs, right? But the way that human beings are, we take the fun out of literally everything. All the games we play, a lot of us take the fun out of it. Now, of course, for every one of these people that is min-maxing stats and net listing and all of that, there's probably many more people that are literally playing a character and they're trying to be true to the character and they don't care about the proper build or anything like that. But there is a pretty large population of people that are going to look online, and I see it all the time in the Facebook groups I'm in, and they're like, hey, I'm building a bard. What's the optimal bard build? And I'm like, what? How do these people even think this way? Because if I was going to build a bard, before I ever decided it was going to be a bard, I was going to think about what my character was, what their race, what their background, what their all of that. And you kind of come up with all of that at like one time. You don't go, I want to play a bard, probably because a bard is pretty OP. And they're like, oh, I want to play a bard, and I don't know what race will benefit that the most. I don't want to... That is the antithesis of role-playing. Role-playing should be you devise a role that is not yourself, probably, and then you make decisions and you play that character like you're playing in a play. It shouldn't be all of the numbers and the number crunch and memorizing the monster manual and all of that. That's not how you're supposed to play the game. It's supposed to be story-driven. And when you get to the topic of story, there's a lot of RPGs, including MMORPGs, that have almost no story at all. And if they do have a story, if the developers actually made a good story for you to follow, a big portion of the players, especially in MMOs, just click through the speech and just look on their HUD to see where their next mission is. So you looked up the best, most optimal build for your character. And that essentially means you have no choice at all in your character, right? Because if you're only going to pick the optimal powers, the optimal equipment, the optimal stats, the race, everything, that means that you're not playing a role. You're playing a copy and paste of what everyone else is playing. That's not a role. That's like a job. That's basically what that is. That's a job. Speaking of MMOs, if you were really playing a role, if you were a ranger or somebody that was stealthy, like a thief, you could probably beat that boss in a certain way, right? You'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to sneak in, find a secret entrance that only I can find because I'm a thief or whatever, and then I'll be able to backstab him, or I'll be able to set a trap, or I'll be able to whatever, right? Or if you're a barbarian, you just rush right in. Or if you're a mage, you might do something else. And there should be actually more than one way to skin a cat. You should actually be able to defeat the boss in different ways. But unfortunately, things like MMOs and most video games, you just run in and start wailing on them. Like, whether you're a thief, whether you're a barbarian, whatever, it doesn't matter. You just start wailing on them. And to me, I'm thinking, so I statted my character exactly like how everyone else is. I picked the best class just because it's the most powerful right now. And I click through all of the dialogue as fast as possible to just look at the next arrow on my map. And then I run in there and beat him over the head just like everybody else does. I sure played a role. Like, no, you didn't play a role at all. You played the role of NPC. You have actually become the NPC. Now, I know plenty of people that play MMOs and actually try to play a character and actually do that, and that's fine. I feel like that's the way it was intended. But I feel like even with like win at all cost players in Wargaming or Magic or whatever, it's like you're taking all of the fun out of it, and we have such a terrible propensity as a race to like condense things down to the purest form. But then you end up missing everything. right? Like if I condense chicken noodle soup all the way down to just evaporated powder and chicken, it's not soup anymore. It's not the whole experience of what it originally was intended to be. This video is brought to you by my beautiful, sexy, good-smelling Patreon patrons over on, what's that website? Patreon. What's the patron that sponsored this video? L. Jones, thank you so much for supporting the show, and he insists the only way to roleplay is with actual roles. If you play MMOs and you really get into character and you don't care about the meta and you don't click through all the stuff and you really play it, then good on you, because you're actually role-playing, right? Although they still don't support it very well because there's not more than one way to beat a boss or whatever, but still. If you're playing tabletop games, that is really the only place that you can role play, and it's the best possibility to role play because nothing is scripted as far as like the world isn't scripted like a video game, right? You actually have free form to do whatever you want. And I feel like all of these other things claiming to be role playing is like just posers. Like an idle RPG. An idle RPG that you can get on your phone, right? You make a war band or whatever, you make a party, and your people have powers and whatever, and then you just turn it off and let it run in the background, so it's an auto battler, right? It's going to fight for you. You literally just turn it on once in a while to collect your rewards? Like, the rewards for what? You didn't do anything. Oh, I leveled up. Okay, while I was sleeping, I leveled up, and now I'm better. But you're not better. You're not even playing a role. The game is actually playing itself. And you just get to open up the little box and see the confetti and the horn blow. Like, it just, I don't understand why people use the term RPG. If we're going to call that role-playing, then Call of Duty is role-playing. Then Solitaire is role-playing. Minesweeper? Oh yeah, man, I played a Minesweeper in this game. I was role-playing. Like, no, you weren't. There was no part of you in it, right? You weren't making any decisions. And very few games, even the ones that are supposed to, give you choice in what you say, like Fallout, Oblivion, some of them. A lot of the times, the outcome is still the same. They can't script everything, every possible outcome of you being rude, nice, whatever. Most of the time, there's like some minor response from the NPC, and that's that. But I'm thinking to myself, none of this is role-playing. We've completely watered down the whole term of role-playing from MMOs that don't support real role-playing because everybody does the very best build, and they all beat the boss the same way, and they're all the chosen one, and all of that. All the way to idle games that literally play the game for you. If that is role-playing, then I don't know what is role-playing, because clearly I've missed the definition somewhere of what role-playing is. So you tell me, am I being overly dramatic? Am I being ridiculous? Is your auto-battlers that literally play the game for you role-playing? Or has the term role-playing become extremely watered down to the point where it has no meaning whatsoever anymore? You let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff, and your comments are really interesting to me. Yes, it helps with engagement with the channel, but I legitimately want to know if I am way off base here. Am I just being ridiculous and pedantic? Or have we really lost the plot thread? Haha, it's a little bit of a pun there. Or have we really lost the plot thread of what role-playing is? If you have only the optimal build, you have no choice in your character creation. If you only pick the best class, you have no choice in your character creation. If you skip all the dialogue in the video games, or you just want to go from combat to combat, you're not really role-playing or making decisions. And if the bosses only have one way to be defeated, that seems to me like that's not role-playing. And whenever you say things to an NPC, and it doesn't matter whether you pick A, B, C, or D as an option, they're just going to go from, oh, thank you, to, thank you, but the outcome is the same. Is that role-playing? I really feel like it's not role-playing.